The Outsider, an HBO series based on a novel by Stephen King. Let's talk about it. If you like what you see here on Strange Planet NYC, please subscribe, consider it at least, and tap on that bell for future notifications for future Strange Planet NYC and Horror and Coffee contents. So I've been doing some binge watching last couple weeks in this while we're in like shelter in or whatever, and I came across by the advice of my horror and coffee buddy Vic, The Outsider. It's based on a novel by Stephen King, and it's on HBO. So if you have an HBO subscription, go check it out. This series is about a small town somewhere in middle America where this detective is forced to have to arrest a friend of his, a neighbor, a person of renown, good rapport with the community, had to arrest him for killing a child, an 11-year-old. This ended up leading to other things that turned out to show that this guy wasn't the person they were looking for. It wasn't the person that really killed the boy. Yet, all the evidence leads to that the guy was the one, and yet it wasn't. And that's the thing. That's the thing that's weird. That's the thing that bugs everybody out. It bugged me out for the first few episodes. I was like, wait a minute, did he do it or not? And then I started really thinking, well, he must have not done it. Otherwise, why go through all the trouble? And the story of this 10 episode series, this is season 1. They call it season 1 on the HBO. I don't know if there's going to be a season 2. Even if it doesn't, it ended pretty interesting. I'm not going to give anything away here. I am going to tell you that if you love forensics, if you love murder mysteries, if you love even supernatural horror, like the case of It, for instance, another Stephen King classic, you'll love The Outsider. It's kind of like It meets Hannibal Lecter kind of feel to it. And it involves this officer named Ralph, group of people ended up joining him in this effort of trying to really crack down on this case to find out what exactly is going on here. And with the help of this young lady named Holly, who is amazingly brilliant. She's like the smartest person in television as far as I'm concerned right now. It's like, hey, you want to know something? Ask Holly. She does. That's the thing. She does. At one point in the show, she's actually tested in a kind of fun and game trivia pursuit while driving. And I thought it was pretty cool, because she knew stuff. And she was the actual gateway to really unveiling the nature of the real killer of this boy. It led to other similar cases. And, one thing that Victor did tell me about was that I'm Puerto Rican, right? And as a Puerto Rican, and if you're Latino of another persuasion, Dominican or whatever, we all experience this. When you're a little kid, your parents are like, if you don't behave, El Cuco will come and get you. You Latinos out there, fellow Latino, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, I grew up with that. And as a kid, I didn't really absorb that very well. I didn't really, what's El Cuco? When I misbehaved, I was like, they never told you, they just told me El Cuco will come and get me. But they didn't tell me what El Cuco was. So I'm like, you want to fill me in on this El Cuco? Give me his resume? And they capitalize in The Outsider the whole legend of that. To kind of, I guess, give it a name, give the thing that's involved in this whole series an understanding and meaning and purpose, because otherwise you won't be able to understand it for anybody's understanding and sake of it. Just won't happen. But I enjoyed how they still did it. They connected it with many other, not just a Latino origin story, folktale, but other folktales of different cultures and throughout history that had similar urban legends or folktales, for that matter, about a being that would like go get your children. One thing about folktales and legends, though, I always believed that every folktale and legend had a semblance of reality in it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been there, right? And which means that at one point in history, it must have been very well known and very real. But as time goes on, history becomes legend, legend becomes myth, myth becomes folktales. And I think that what happens is in this series, they kind of have to peel back the layers like an onion to kind of see what's really at the root of this. And if it challenged anyone more than the other people in the group, we had a lawyer, we had a few more cops, we had a former cop who is now a security guy. And out of all of them, Ralph, the main character, the main guy, who was most haunted by everything that happened, both in the arrest of Terry Maitland, that's the name of the guy that was accused, all the way to, to the aftermath, the horrible aftermath of what happened afterwards, how it affected everybody else's lives around them, family, friends. Like, it was like a domino effect that just kind of like destroyed lives. And he couldn't understand it. If anything, he was the most challenged. He is put to the challenge in this story to accept something that is beyond his normal sense of understanding, both in a realistic and in a scientific way. And I enjoyed watching that struggle he went in, because I think of many people I've known in my life, including myself, who really walk into things with a big note of skepticism. You gotta examine things very carefully before you come to any kind of conclusion. Holly did that. The smart girl, the smart private investigator hired for this case. She challenges not only Ralph but the rest of the group as to how they need to open their eyes a little wider and take a step towards something they're not normally used to. And that can speak volumes in any kind of aspect of life. Kind of like now. Another character that you should be on the lookout when you watch this is this guy named Jack. He's also a police officer. He works in the same police station as Ralph. Former, I think, he's really good at guns. Let me just say it that way. And he becomes a vital part of this investigation in a way that is, without giving anything away, first of all, very instrumental in unveiling the true nature of the horror that was impacting the community. But, at what a cost. This guy, you follow his story, and not only do you get empathic to a certain degree, you start to also relate to him. I did, in many ways, of how many times we felt like we were stuck, having to do things that we didn't want to do, that were against our good conscience, no matter what. So there it is. It's a wonderful series. I give it, if it's a horror and coffee, I guess I would give it 4 coffee cups, because it was such a great series, and it's something I would watch again. I actually saw it twice, the whole thing, 10 episodes by myself, then 10 episodes with my wife, because I told Sandy, yeah, you got to check this out, and she did. So I was able to see it 2 times. I can see it 3 if I want. Will there be a second season? I don't know. Check out the post-credit scene. Don't turn it off too quick when the credits start rolling up in the last episode. There is a post-credit scene, so check that one out. And ask yourself that question, and let me know what you think down below. Talk to me. Share with me what you think about HBO's The Outsider, based on a novel by Stephen King. This is Ralph Perez from Strange Planet. Take care and stay healthy and safe.